Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the, what do we have? The March meeting of the acquisition SIG for koha-US. Today we have a special guest with us, Kelly, from Bywater. Last month we were talking about, I guess, what is that called when you receive the records, downloading them. And sometimes the existing records would get overwritten and sometimes they wouldn't get overwritten. And what was the magic sauce that made it happen so that you didn't overwrite your carefully constructed letters or records? So we have Kelly from Bywater, who used to be an educator and now is in a different role. I'm not outreach, is that?
Yeah, sales and outreach.
Sales and outreach. Okay. So, but she still has her educator brain cells in there. So, we're going to pick on those. So maybe the best thing to do is to pull up. Let me see if I can. I should have had this done before. I wasn't thinking. Pull up a test thing, which is way there. Staff interface. I'm gonna pull it up.
As Rhonda does that, so this is not a consistent thing. It just happens every once in a while, or is
No,
it?
it's a consistent thing.
Okay.
I mean, some people consistently have it overwrite, and some people consistently don't have it overwrite. And so we compared, what our settings were, with each other, and they looked the same, but there's obviously something that's different.
Yep, absolutely.
So we just want to figure out what that is, acquisitions. So I'm going to share my screen. And then this is the koha-US demo site that we're on. Okay. That is so not what I wanted to share. Try again. That looks like what I want to share. So, okay, you guys are seeing the right thing. I'm just not seeing it. Just made my screen go disappear. So you're seeing the koha US screen, right? Not my Outlook. Okay. Correct. So I may need some help to recreate this because I don't think I have like a file or anything. But what we do is okay. So what we need to do is go in here to how do I get to that?
Are you just going to import a file, or do you need to create a basket?
Yeah, I just want to import a file.
So that would be under tools.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay. And then stage mark record for import. You can tell I'm not the one who does this every day. Okay, so here, I don't know that I've got a mark file anywhere, maybe. Ooh. Here, I don't know what's in here, but we'll upload it.
It's a biggie.
Yeah, I should have picked something smaller. Okay. So this is where I think we could use some help in understanding what all these drop downs and stuff do. So like the first one, preview values. You don't have them here.
Yeah, that's relatively new, Rhonda. That is allowing libraries to actually, in essence, create profiles to say, okay, every time I bring in a Baker and Taylor file, Koha, do these settings. So then you can fill out your settings, your mark modification template, and then that matching option. And then next time you do it, which is fantastic because so many times you have somebody who doesn't always import files, but has to do it because they're, somebody's out of town or on vacation and they don't remember the settings or they're not written down. So the profile allows you to easily say, these are the exact settings I do with this vendor or with this, ebook record file or this juvenile file of records.
Okay.
But that's not,
yeah,
I
just wanted to say, I just started it and I love it. Just because when you're busy or you're distracted, sometimes you'll pull the wrong drop down. Not often if you do it every day, but so yeah, I've been doing like books, like full order records or on order records for books or DVDs or audiobooks. So anyway, it's a great tool.
Cool. Awesome.
Okay.
Great to hear.
Okay. Then the settings, just, a comment, we will put initials in for whoever is messing with the file or whatever. Bibliographic, that's pretty straightforward. This mark. So those settings aren't too confusing. Some of us had templates, some do not. We'll just say do not use. I think these two areas are the ones that we are maybe not clear on. So the first one, I will click on the options. So the record matching rules. So when we're importing something, it's first, do not look for matches. It's like, I don't care what's in this file. I want it in my catalog.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so then the next one is the ISBN. So look to see if the 020 field matches what's in my catalog. See if there's any that match that. So and the ISSN is the same, and then the 999 is the same. So basically you're specifying what you want to match on.
Correct.
Okay.
Which probably in your scenario, you are choosing one of these because this is the scenario where it says you're saying that you are saying look for matches, but in, an overlay means that you are saying, regardless of what I have in my system, I want to use this new record, replace the existing record with this imported record.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So we'll say we're going to match on the ISBN. That seems like a pretty frequently used thing. All right. So action if matching record found. Kelly, talk us through these.
Yep. So again, I'm assuming you're finding this issue when you are saying replace it. Take what I'm putting into the system currently and replace it with what's there already. So the new one is going to replace the one that's already in your koha system, which is the first one. If matches found, add it anyways. So that's the second one. So regardless if I said find a match, I still want you to add it. And then the last one, if matches found, ignore the record, but process my 952s that I have in this mark record. So you may just be getting, you had a stub record in your system and now you have a full record, and that you have a full record in your system, but you now need to just add the items to it. So however that process works in your vendor situation, it's all a little different per library, but saying, I want you to find it, that matching record using the 020, but don't do anything to the record, just process my in essence, my 952s.
Okay. All right, so I think that's what we want to happen most of the time. If we have a
Well,
match.
then in that case, you're not, ignore the record that you're bringing in. So if there are any changes in your MARC file that you're importing currently, it is not going to accept those because you're ignoring it. So I can't imagine that's actually the one you're choosing in the
Okay.
scenario you broke down to me in the ticket, where it sounded like, hey, I have this short stub record that in my system right now, and now I have a full record. Please bring in match and then take my full record and replace it with my stub record. So, and you're saying maybe some MARC fields aren't coming over, or no MARC fields are making that replacement happen. Is that correct?
And Christie, is this one of the problems that you guys were having?
Yeah, so I've been working with Bywater. That was that bug 31092. So apparently Koha is one of the ILS programs that does not allow. So Kelly, the problem is when we get full records from our vendors, we don't always want to overlay the 020 fields. Because if we already have full records in there, bib records, sometimes we want them to ignore the full bib records and just bring in, overlay the item records. So there's not that option. I've tried to create different matching rules and with the help of Bywater, and it's really a programming thing. So the time when we'll use ignore, we've had to create different accounts for the vendors. So I know that Rhonda, I think, has done this, and another account in Texas. But so I create an account with our vendor for added copies only. So when I import those marks, there I do say ignore incoming record. And then in the bottom, I'll say how to process items, replace items only, because we already have those full records. The problem is Koha can't look. There's a number on the MARC field, and I work with Nick and Kyle a little bit. And this is what I wanted to have happen in the future, that we don't have to create separate accounts for added copies only, that Koha can identify through the MARC record. There's a number on it, like in the MARC, like look at number field position 4 or something. I have to go look at the notes. And then again, just overlay the incomplete records that we have and import all of the item records and replace them.
Okay.
And then
Gotcha.
can I add to that, that the settings we're using, we don't have this problem. So when we order extra copies of a bestseller or something like that, we bring it in and it just attaches the order to the bib record we already have. And so I think we're trying to figure out, like, why does that work with how mine is set, but it's not working for other people? And we're non-EDI, in case that makes a difference. And we're bringing records in from Baker and Taylor. We're ordering the card at Baker and Taylor and then downloading the record that they have. So I'm not sure, how my process differs from others.
And which drop downs are you using, Barbara, for those added copies?
On the record matching rule, we're using the 020. On the action, if matching record found, is replace existing record with incoming record, which doesn't really make sense to me. And then action, if no match is found, is add incoming record. And then we have it to always add items.
So yeah, the problem is if you're replacing the 020 on the second action, if matching record found, we have notes in some of ours that'll say, like, in the 020, like gift from so-and-so or what have you. And so we don't want the vendor record to replace our full records for the most part, because we've already done the cataloging. So I'm not sure how that's working for you, because it seems like it's overlaying your existing record.
Now, Christie, have you played around at all with the protected fields in Koha, like where you can say like, do not touch these fields during this process?
Yeah, I was actually excited when that came out, but
Mhm.
as it turns out, it's not going to work. I mean, I guess the best thing to do is look at the bug 31092, and it'll explain better. I've been battling with this for a few years now and trying to come up with a solution with Bywater. It's been like Sarah, Nick, and Kyle. So right now it seems like it's a programming thing that needs to be done with Koha, but it costs money. So
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I think I've heard of this before. So it's in essence like who's putting in this leader the position information? Is it the vendor, Christie?
yeah, so that's typical when you're getting either on order records or full records. You're going to have the typical layout of the leader, and it's always the same. All of these encoding levels, the numerals are always the same no matter what vendor you're using. It's just the format of the mark record, the leader.
Okay. So I guess so it goes deeper than the, record overlay feature that Koha has, because this is on an individual basis versus at all times, don't touch my 590. It's really like, look at the mark record and then identify if this is in fact a brief record, and then do your thing. Have they like at least quoted this, Christie, and how much it would cost?
Oh,
somehow you got muted.
Sorry. Yes, they did quote it. The initial quote was changed, I think. And I think I don't know if I presented that to the team. It's been a while since I've been on, because I somehow got I didn't have the information on the meetings anymore, but it was quoted, and I think Nick put it on the sharing site. Like if people wanted to, I don't know what that's called. I apologize. If people wanted to it's like a crowdfunding or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll put that link in for you. Oh. Christie, do you have a ticket number by chance on this?
Sure. Let's see. Let me just log in.
Yeah, of course.
So while you're thinking, Barbara, when you do so you're saying your files that come in, are they mixed? Like sometimes they've got full records that you want to get loaded into your system, and other times you just want the items, or are they separated out?
Yeah, so if we order a bestseller and then 2 months later it's like, oh my God, we need more copies, when we do another order with Baker and Taylor, it's a mix of pre-pubs and that bestseller that already existed. And
Okay,
then when that bestseller that already exists comes in, the new bib that comes in does not overlay our already cataloged bib. And it just attaches the items and the order for the additional copies that we want.
mhm, mhm.
I don't know why.
Yeah. Yeah. That does
So
seem.
this is different than Christie's.
Mhm.
Situation. Is that correct, Rhonda?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So it seems like Barbara is able to do what Christie is trying to do for reasons we don't understand.
But would you say, Christie, that Barbara is more of a do this in every situation versus yours is saying, hey, I'd like you to only do this at certain times?
That's what it sounds, but Barbara, I guess you'd have to clarify because you're instructing Koha to overlay every single record.
I know, and that doesn't make sense to me, but I can tell you that when we order a new copy of a bestseller, months down the line, we use the 090 or the 099 tag, and we put in a dummy PO number in there. And when that additional bib comes in, it does seem like that should replace, that information should like come into the record because it's saying replace existing record, but it's not.
Okay. So the 099.
Yeah, we're just using that as a placeholder for the order records. And so if that was happening, I'd keep finding all these records where my call numbers had been wiped out. And that's not happening. And I agree, it doesn't make any sense, but.
So your matching rule is different though. You are matching on the 099.
No, we're actually matching on the 020.
Oh, okay.
We're just using that 099. That's just our little internal convention for the way we assign PO numbers, and it helps us track things. And that gets wiped out when we actually catalog.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is clearing it out or it's not clearing it out
Is
on
that
the overlay.
question for me?
Yeah. Yeah.
And by that you mean it's clearing which one are we talking about?
The 099.
So it is not clearing, like I have a fiction call number in the old existing bib and I bring in the new bib and it has a fake PO number in my 099. It doesn't bring that 099 into the old record that has my fiction call number. It only adds the additional items and the new order record. It keeps my call number.
It keeps your call number, even
And
though.
And it keeps all my subject headings and it keeps my local subject headings. We use a 690 local heading and we add new books or new AV in the month and the year to everything. It doesn't wipe out any of that stuff. So it's just adding items and orders. It's not touching the bib at all. And it seems like it should, based on action if matching record found, replace.
Yeah, because I actually, that's what originally Rhonda had said that was the concern for this meeting. So I tested it before I got here and I chose replace. I chose to match it. I chose to replace. and then I removed fields, I added fields, and it did it exactly. Like it removed the field that I removed, on my overlay, and it added the fields that was where it was in my new record. So I was like, oh, we're good. Like I'm solid. Like I'm gonna just say this works. But I was feeling good. But do you have an example, Barbara, to show?
I would have to go digging around
Okay.
to find something.
Okay. Because I'm happy to, it sounds like Christie has found kind of her solution is that the koha doesn't quite work like that. And there's a development, but with yours, I would say that since from what you're explaining and what I tried today, we're getting two different results. So, I'd be happy to, if you open a ticket, we can work through that.
Well, yeah, I would say if it ain't broke, or if it is broke, don't fix it.
It's not broke for me, but
Yeah.
it does sound like if it's working here the way I'm wanting it, and it's kind of like something that would help Christie or others, why is it causing it to work here? And I don't know.
Right.
Can I just ask Barbara though, have you got your subject heading fields protected? So perhaps it is bringing in the record from Baker and Taylor, but that's where you got your original record. So, a lot of the data will be the same. And then if you've put in your own subject headings, but they're protected, they won't be overwritten.
I don't know, and I can't even recall where you find to protect.
Okay, I'm gonna look real quick.
That's kind of a new thing, right, Kelly, that came out in this last, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I think you would know, Barbara, because it would take a bit of setup to know that those are protected, but I'm going to pop into your site and just see
Okay.
If that's set up that way.
Where do you go to find that?
It's in admin, and it's under like the cataloging admin section, and it's called record overlay rules. Yep, exactly. So it doesn't look like you have any in this set up here.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Barbara's.
Yeah,
No,
so that's nice because it'll protect certain fields.
Mhm.
But again, not addressing, I think, the overall problem, but it's a great feature.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Barbara, you don't have any set up on your site, so you're not doing that currently. Because if there was a point at which you're doing the cataloging and then you still want to overlay it, but there's a donation field or whatever, you could say never touch this, regardless if I'm saying overlay, but just ignore this field during that process because I don't want that to really be touched. I mean, I think there is a Monday minutes on this process, so I can put it in.
So Kelly, I ended up putting the ticket number in that you asked for.
Thank you.
But I'm willing to share my screen, I know that we've kind of gone beyond that, but regarding the profiles and just kind of show you what I've created.
Yeah, please.
So let me know if you guys can see.
We cannot see at this point.
Oh, okay, let's see. Okay, that should be good.
Yep, you got it.
Okay. So I could have deleted a bunch of these here. Okay, so I started the profiles. So again, this was kind of, it's a lazy, lazy way to think, oh, I won't make these mistakes, because sometimes, as you guys know, like just on order records, I'm just matching, these are for books. So it's ISBN, ignore the record, because we could have a full record at that point. Add record if no match is found, and always add items for on order records. And then when I have the full records coming in, again, matching on ISBN, replace the existing, and then add, and then replace, because I'm replacing the items because I want it to overlay with the barcode and that 952.
Yep.
Yeah. I did play with the matching rules. Like, you know, I was trying to do like already cataloged, and again, just ID on order, then just trying to parse out, say, no, maybe we'll just do the on records order to overlay. But none of my ideas, I kept running into a brick wall. And again, I had help from Bywater, which has been great. And so all of us decided that a new matching rule wasn't going to do what I needed. But I just kind of wanted to show you guys like this part, like DVD, I'm matching on UPC. I found sometimes when DVDs are new, you'll have to match on the publisher number because they don't have a UPC code yet. Anyhow, I found this very helpful. And again, it's somewhat new, I think. So
Yeah, that's great.
That's fantastic. I'm glad you're using the profiles. I think it really takes the guesswork out of like, I don't usually do these, or I forget how to do these. Is anyone using those mark overlay rules? Just wondered.
Yeah, I know we are not yet. So basically, we've decided that we don't know what's going on, I guess.
what was your initial ticket, Rhonda? I'm sorry, I missed that part.
We had just, I had asked somebody from Bywater to join us in this meeting just to talk about this discussion that we were having last month, you know, where Barbara was like, yeah, but it never overlays stuff that already exists. And then, you know, we were looking at your ticket and, you know, we're like, wait, you know, this doesn't seem to match or be doing the same thing. It doesn't make sense what's going on. So that was just the ticket, you know, just to ask an educator to come join us and talk through that a little bit. But
you know, the other thing is like if Barbara's experiencing like the fact that it's not actually replacing and she's fine with it, is anyone experiencing replacing that not happy with the replace? Because that's another discussion. She's fine with the choosing replace but not replace. So and I looked through the bugs to see if like there were bugs to say like this isn't working. And I didn't see anything. So I just wondered if anybody also was dealing with what Barbara's dealing with, or is she just an edge case?
yeah. It's so fun to be an edge case.
Yes, exactly. And she's gonna, I honestly don't want her to, she doesn't want us to fix it. It doesn't sound like the way she's doing it.
Yeah, I don't want to poke too much.
Right, exactly. And when I tried it, it did work. But of course, I may not be changing the same fields or doing the same thing. So, you know, I removed the 245H. I added a couple more subject heading, you know what I mean? Just like played around with it, added something to the title so I would like clearly see it was changed, and it all worked. I feel like there's somebody else out there that talked about this situation that Christie's brought up. So I think that should just be however y'all like put it out there to your acquisition group, Rhonda, or if it
Okay.
goes to the development, there's a development committee that you could propose it to, because y'all have, funds, I think, associated with what could be developed.
Mhm.
And I don't know how they choose what is funded, but that's always an option, as
Mhm.
well as having it on the crowdfunding site.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah.
just found the quote from Nick. Originally, I think I was quoted 5,000, but it was not, I guess everyone kind of convened after that point and realized that wasn't exactly what they wanted to accomplish. So he's estimating development at 7,500 to add an option during staging to import. I wonder if I could copy and paste this. Yeah, to just check the encoding levels upon import.
So instead of going down, which you always hope it goes down, it went up.
Correct.
They're like, oh, wait a second, that actually is like a little bit harder, or whatever they said.
Yep.
So he said we could post a revised spec to the crowdfunding site if you wish to look for additional partners to help fund the work. So
Okay. And yeah, if koha-US decided to crowdfund some of it, and then the rest was, split up between the other libraries interested, that would be a good way to do it too.
And in the development committee, we have been talking about paying attention to what's on that crowdfunding site. So it would be good to get it on there, Christie.
I don't
Yeah,
see.
I specifically could not find this specific development on the crowdfunding site.
I can't either. So I will bug somebody, whoever does that, and make sure it gets on there today.
Okay. Okay.
yeah, I think that was back. It looks like I wrote him on January 26th and said it would be great to add it to the crowdfunding site. So
Okay. All right. Had two other things I wanted to talk about. If we're finished with this, I think. One is so last month we also talked about a bug that Barbara and I had worked on at the conference with Nick related to end of year processing and being able to assign things that we knew weren't going to come in till the following year to to next year's budget. So we've got what's 31606 is the bug. I did contact Catalyst in New Zealand and PTFS Europe, asking, what kind of prices they would give us to work on this. I heard back from Catalyst, and they will be getting us a quote soon. And they said once we, agreed on a price or whatever, they could start on it in 2 weeks. So that was encouraging. We'll have to see what the price looks like when it comes back. But, if we got a number of libraries together to fund that would be a great thing. I think I know a lot of libraries would benefit from that. So that's the update on that. And then I haven't heard back from PTFS Europe yet on that one. And then I got a note that maybe Barbara can talk to us more about with the what is it?
It's
I had some
8179. And it's the one about receiving multiple order lines at once. And we talked about it last month, and it had kind of gotten stuck in a place. So I made a comment, I guess, and then I contacted the assignee, who was Augustine, and it's sponsored by Virginia Polytechnic. So I contacted someone there to kind of try and find out where, where is this? And I didn't hear anything back, and then just things started happening on it. So it needed to be rebased, which it was. And then Tomas actually signed off on it. But he hadn't changed it to signed off. So I went ahead and took the liberty of changing it to signed off. And he came back and said, we'd actually like a third party to, go through and test it. And it is a long test plan. I've opened a sandbox before the meeting. I'm through step 3, maybe. I've created my vendor, and I've created some baskets, and I'm at the point of trying to bring in MARC records and go through all of this. But it looks like it's moving somewhat, which is very encouraging.
Yeah. So Barbara's working her way through it, but if anybody, the more people we have look at it, the better it is. So if anybody else in the group wants to, we have chats going here. Lots of steps. Yeah. Yes, it is crazy. It is steps and A, B, and C under a step. And
can multiple people be in a sandbox and testing like the same thing?
I don't know.
With this one, I'd almost say no, because I'm looking at it and there's so many steps that you would not know who was on, you wouldn't know where you were at in the process.
I was glad to see he signed off, and I was kind of like, yay, because I really didn't want to have to go and test this again. But I will.
I always suggest in these like larger, there's a couple people in the room that I know have done sign-offs in the past. But I say do like a group effort to work together, like at the same time, watching like the steps and making sure everything's done, because this would boggle my head to do this many steps by myself, honestly, where there's at least one other set of eyes to kind of watch the process would be my suggestion, Barbara, just because this is a big thing to chew off.
And you have to make sure you have enough time so that like your sandbox doesn't expire and you lose everything. And yeah,
you get two renewals, I think, but you have to remember to renew it.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So what is the subject on this? I'm sorry, Barbara, just a general.
So this is the ability to receive multiple order lines at once.
Oh, okay.
We're non-EDI, so it would really help us. But I think even if you were EDI and you maybe were ordering, you did most of your stuff EDI, but you had a large order from some vendor that you didn't use EDI, it would speed up your receiving instead of having to receive every single one separately.
Of course. Okay.
Yeah. So are you good with trying to march through this yourself, Barbara, or?
I'm good with trying to go through it. I wouldn't mind, having a period of, setting some time aside and doing like what Kelly suggests, having some multiple eyes looking at it from different perspectives.
Mhm.
Was this not I thought I saw this on a future release in Koha. Am I mistaken? Do you know, Kelly?
It has not come to, it's not out yet. I mean, what is it still under signed off? I thought it had been signed off. I thought Jesse told me the other day that it had been signed off.
It had been signed off by Tomas, and that's why I saw it and I'm like, ooh, it's been signed off. This is exciting.
Yeah.
So that's why I just decided, okay, but it doesn't say it's signed off. So I just took the liberty of signing it off. And that's when he came back and said, we really want a third party to do this. So that helped know, what people are thinking.
Yeah.
On what they want for this to move forward.
So a third party can't probably be Bywater since Tomas is under our purview, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking they want, true user
Yeah.
feedback,
Mm-hmm.
which makes sense. It's just a terribly long bug.
It is.
Another thing that I've done in the past with Bywater is I've had somebody from Bywater go through all of the steps with me, like in a Zoom meeting. Somebody will walk through the whole test plan with me, and I'll just watch them do it and verify that it looks good, and then I'll go do the sign off. And that I've done on some complicated ones like this, but I've also done it with ones where there are steps that I can't do in a sandbox. So that might be something else that you might want to think about. I wouldn't want to do it myself just because I don't, I come to these meetings to learn about acquisitions. I would not be able to do the acquisition steps myself on this. So.
Yeah, that's definitely an option as well. Because I know when we had Andrew, he was really good at those things. I hope Andrew's enjoying his new job.
Andrew wouldn't even make you go to he wouldn't even bring you into a Zoom meeting. He'd just make a video and then have you watch it. And that way you could go back, when he would go so fast you missed a step, you could wind it back and make sure you got what he was saying.
Yeah. Well, Jesse and I have talked about this numerous times, but again, just overwhelmed with the number of steps. And we were hoping when we saw it signed off, was at the point where it was signed off, we thought, oh, this is great. Oh. So I can talk to her and see if she wants to tackle it with me. We'd need a whole day, I think.
Yeah.
Without interruptions. Can you imagine? You lose your step. You lose your place.
Okay. Well, the goal here for this one, I guess, is to see to it that we get it signed off. So it can go to QA, I guess, is the next step then.
Yeah, it's from 2012. So.
Yeah. Well, with this, where's the 8179 number?
Yeah.
What are we in? 331,606. That was back in September. Yeah, this is an old one. We need to get this one done and out the door. Okay. I'll stop sharing. So we just have 8 minutes left. I don't know if there's anything. Oh, my light went off again. It's a feature in my new office. The motion detector thingy is cleverly hidden behind my bookcase. So if I'm sitting at my desk for a while, it doesn't know that I'm here, and then my lights will go off. So I just take that as nap time and wait till, and if somebody walks in the room then and the lights come on, I'm just like, ah, you just brighten the room when you walk in. You're so special. They always feel special.
We have those throughout our house, and my son really appreciates that he could lay still in his bed for 5 full minutes and his lights turn off.
Oh, wow.
He doesn't have to get up and turn them off.
Yeah. Okay, does anybody have anything else? Or a topic that you'd like to talk about next month, which will be April. And let's get the date, let me get my calendar. April 18 will be the next meeting. Same time, same link.
Rhonda, this is Brandy from K&L Gates.
Hey, hi, Brandy.
Hi, we came to this meeting. There's 2 of us from K&L Gates here today. We came to the meeting to see if we would be able to ask about using different currencies in acquisitions. That's something that we're going to start doing, and
Okay.
maybe for next time we can have some questions ready. We're so new to it that we're hoping someone else could share their experience with that.
Okay. Does anyone here today have experience with using different currencies?
We'd have a lot in Europe.
Okay.
So the Interleaf customers would use it, where typically we'd have euro as our base currency, and then they'd be ordering in US dollars and typically UK pounds. So they'd be the very common ones, and it works
Okay.
really well.
Okay.
There looks like in Koha in the currencies and exchange rates and admin that there are some already set up, like the British pound, US dollar, the euro. And then you can either activate them or not.
Okay, we are going to have to start using Australian dollars and probably pounds as well. And we were wondering about how that's going to affect reporting. And also our Australian libraries are set up with their own interface into the staff or into the OPACs. And so I was wondering if they also had their own entry into the staff, if they could get their default to be in Australian dollars instead of US, if that was something that's possible to set up.
I just shared a very basic blog post on how currency rate exchange rates work in Koha. I forget who was talking, Brandy.
Brandy, yeah, okay, yes,
Yeah.
I've seen that, and I've
Yep.
gone in and set the exchange rate, and we're not
Okay.
even sure we're going to use that feature, but
And I would say if you're using the same system, you can only choose one as the default exchange. And for the Australian one, if there's changing their exchange rate, I believe, and whoever is also using exchange rates, they would have to change it each time, because you can have multiple kind of active currencies, but you can only have one default, I believe.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
So I think, Brandy, if you're sharing, you're going to have to leave it all in US dollars. And then every currency you use, it'll be converted to dollars. So when you see your reports, they'll all be in dollars. So if the Australians wanted to change it, I'd want to test it. I've never done it. You could, as Kelly said, temporarily change the Australian dollar to be the default, but then it'll convert everything to Australian dollars.
okay. Well, I was wondering, I ran the report and I saw how it takes everything and it converts it to the US. Is there a way to access the field in which the foreign currency was originally entered? Through, I guess I could look at the reporting schema and see if it's in there somewhere.
So you're saying not the exchange rate, but like when you place the order, if there was a place where they put it was in Australian dollars?
Yeah, like say if I entered an invoice as 99 Australian dollars, and then the system just creates it to 66 US.
Mhm.
Is there a way that I could maybe have a report that actually pulls the 99, the number I actually entered as Australian currency?
I wonder, let's see.
You could probably make it like math backwards if you needed to.
I was
in your
thinking that,
report.
just put the currency. But then you'd have to have the exchange rate that was in effect at the time you paid the invoice, and I don't know if it stores that.
In AC orders, there is a currency field, or in the table, there is a currency. Now, where does currency, where does currency get stored? There's a timestamp in currency. And there's an archived in currency table, so maybe.
Okay, I'll just put those fields in a report and see what.
Happens. Yeah,
Yeah.
and definitely reach out to Bywater to help if needed.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other, we can get back next month, and just see what Brandy's learned about the currency stuff. And then is there anything else that?
I wanted to thank Kelly for joining us. This has been a special meeting, so thank you.
Yeah.
This group really scares me. I'm happy to put it on my calendar, but again, it kind of scares me because it's like a really deep pool in the acquisition world. And I feel like I'm in the shallow end still because I didn't use it, in Koha proper when I was, a public librarian. So I'm just learning as I like play around and learn new things. So this is fun, but scary. Don't tell anyone I said that. I know this is being recorded.
Yeah. We won't tell a soul.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, then, if you have ideas, things that you stumble across in the next month that you want to talk about, just shoot me an email and I'll put it on the agenda. And then, I will update everybody with information about the end of year processing bug, like how much they will actually charge us for that, and see if we can get some funds generated for that. And other than that, have a great rest of your day and rest of March, I guess, till we see you in April.
Yep.
All right. We'll see you all.
I thank you.
Bye.